using what we were just saying about the depth perception, as human beings, we actually have pretty much perfect depth perception. You know, if I'm going to throw the ball to you, I don't need to think about how big a swing to make, how fast my arm's going. You know, if I was standing on a veranda throwing the keys down to somebody, I can pretty much hit them in the chest most times, can't I? But when we go to putt, we do something a little bit different, okay? The biggest problem with most golfers is, and you know, we've had drummed into us for that long, that you have to keep your head still. You have to keep your head down, you know, look at the ground until the ball makes a sound in the hole and that type of thing, you know. But the reality is that everything that we do, if we're going somewhere or if we're passing something to somebody or we're kicking it to somebody, we're actually not looking down here to kick a ball, we're looking where we want the ball to go. You know, we're passing a football, we're not looking at the ball, we're looking at the person that we want to pass the ball to. So, you know, if I'm going to throw a ball, it's going to be that, and I'm going to hit you every time, you're going to hit me on the way back. Okay, now if we could get that close with our putting, the majority of the time, we'd be fantastic, wouldn't we? We really would, we'd be a lot better at it. Okay, so like we said, the problem that we have when we're putting, but, and it would be the same, you know, if I've got my head down here, but I want to pass the ball to John, well, I mean, I know roughly where he's standing and I might get it pretty close, but there's no guarantees that I will, and pretty much that's how we putt. We get it close every now and then, but we may be a little bit off. So what we need, seeing as we have this perfect depth perception, or at least something that goes close, we need to learn to use that more often when we're putting. Okay, so if I'm having a look at this putt here, and you know, we see different things when we're seeing different players. You'll see them back here, and they'll be standing behind the ball, trying to work out how, you know, they're looking at the putt in front of them, they're looking at the break. The thing that they'll do, but is they'll have a bit of a swing, and the size of the swing and the tempo of the swing will be what they're trying to do. Or you'll see them there, they'll be swinging their arm a little while they're looking at the hole. Because what they're trying to do is they're trying to find out how big a swing it is. Another thing that you'll see them do is they'll have a practice swing looking at the hole. Okay, and the tempo of the swing and the size of the swing will resemble what they're trying to do when they go to putt the ball. Okay, so they're letting their eyes tell their hands how big a swing to make. And there's lots of different ways of doing it. Some guys will do it a little differently because we all throw a ball differently, we all kick a ball differently. Okay, so what we're trying to do is we're trying to get that bit of a feel on how big a swing it is. And then when I go to hit, I'm going to try and make the same swing. From that as I go along, so I'm just going to feel that, and I'm going to try and make this one a little bit bigger to try and get it there. Beautiful. It's the main reason why we usually get a little better at it as we go along if we hit a first putt and a second putt. Now obviously we don't get that second go when we're playing in the comp or when we're out on the golf course, but we can actually make our first go our practice swing. Okay, we can make that first go our practice swing. We can have, one of the habits that I've got into with people when I'm teaching them this is I'll get people to make 3 practice swings. The first one will resemble what they normally do, and usually when the first one, we're still very conscious in our head. So most people, what they do is they hit the first one short, like that one is there, so they'll think, oh well, the last putt I hit was a bit short, so this time I'm going to actually hit this one a lot harder. And how many times do you see the ball, you know, somebody will putt 6 feet short, then the next one will go 10 feet past, then the next one will be 4 feet short, you know, and there's nothing in the middle. That's because they're not trusting anything. what they're doing is they're reacting to the last bad putt that they had. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to learn to trust in our eyes and our hands. And for all the talk of path and linear and all natural golf, natural sports people and this type of stuff, at the end of the day, golf is a feel game, and putting in particular is probably the most feel-orientated part of it. So we've got to learn to trust what we're feeling. So what we'll tend to do, I'll get somebody to do when they do their practice swing, they'll have 3 swings. So the first one will have a lot of what they're thinking about involved in it. So it might be short and fast, that way. Then the second one will actually, their eyes will start to kick in and the swing will get a little bit longer and a little bit smoother. Usually the third one will be the one that's the best. It'll be usually, for most cases, the longest and the smoothest of the strokes is the best way to explain it, but it's not always the same. Okay? And that's what we're looking at. So we're going to have those 3, 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to try and make it like that third one. Distance-wise, it's not too bad. Okay, so that's just a little bit about how we learn to feel the distances of the putts, using our eyes, using the size of our swing, and trying to make our first bad putt really a practice swing, as opposed to using our first bad putt to hit a bad putt. Okay? Come along to one of our putting schools and you'll be able to find out more about this.